All right. Barry's joining me again for
Hey,
bedtime yoga. I'm gonna scoot
I
this
tried to get Dustin to come, but
back. I'm lucky. Barry likes. I'll go on bike rides with him, so he'll come on. He'll come do yoga with me. But today we're just gonna kind of wind down for going to bed. But as I've kind of been thinking about the day, I think a lot of people are just under a lot of stress. And we've, in previous practices this week, we've kind of talked about that uncertainty and just kind of allowing it. So we're going to start this practice with just an awareness meditation, and then we'll lay down and roll around. We'll do a few standing poses, but it'll be a relaxing practice. So just find a comfortable seat and let yourself sit tall. So if you have Barry sitting on a block, something to make your spine tall, I'm sitting on a folded blanket, just find something to sit on. And you can close your eyes. Just start to notice your breath. And invite it down into your belly. One of the temptations as we have our calendars unintentionally cleared, and we have this invitation to spend a lot of time just alone. It's easy to still fill up our day with a whole bunch of stimulation. But I don't want us to be afraid of the quiet and the stillness. The German poet Rilke said, "Let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror just keep going. No feeling is final." Right? All of it is temporary. And there's always these cycles and ebbs and flows. As we watch the world come back to life with the spring, we just see that the cycles of nature don't stop. And part of what we're in the midst of is one of those cycles. It's just part of the natural world. And really bringing to the forefront how connected we are to the natural world, to each other, to every part of the human race, of the planet that we live on. But with the emergence of spring, we also have that teaching that even after a pause, after the deadness of winter, life always returns. And for us this year, there's even more flowers than usual. So I just invite you to bring to mind some of the thoughts that you've been having. Maybe something has caused some anxiety. And let yourself think that, whatever it has been that has been causing fear, anxiety, frustration, impatience. And just notice how that feels in your body. Notice where you feel it. Without interpreting it at all, other than just the pure physical sensation. Everything that we experience happens in our bodies. Maybe a gripping in your throat, or butterflies in your stomach, or a tightness in your chest. You can notice the temperature of it. And then you can start to ask yourself, is this signal in my body cause for alarm? Does it mean that I need to mobilize? Is there something life-threatening happening to me in this space that I'm in right now? 99% of the time, that answer is no. So we can just accept those feelings of maybe discomfort, something we think needs to be dealt with and fixed. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's just part of being human. And we can say, I'm willing to feel this. I'm willing to feel anxious off and on for the rest of my life. I'm willing to accept this part of the human experience. And we don't have to rush around trying to fix or control anything. Right? All of these things give us experience. And they're consecrated for our good when we're willing to experience it and willing to feel it. That's part of what Christ's power is. His power to transform and heal comes partly from his willingness to feel and just to allow the experience. And as we move through our practice, just really let yourself be willing to feel. Yoga teaches us that our intelligence isn't just in our brain, right, but there's this deep intelligence in every cell of our body. So we can move and feel from that place, from every part of us. Go ahead and open your eyes. Just gently rock off of your seat and come down onto your back. Set up for a bridge. And we'll just move for a few breaths there. Knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Let your shoulders be along, or just drop to the floor. Arms alongside your body. Push into your feet and inhale. Just lift your hips. Pause and then exhale to lower. Just do 3 rounds like that. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and lift. Exhale and lower. And then let your knees knock together. Inhale, lift your hips with your knees together. And then let your knees go wide. Exhale to lower. Let your knees knock together. Lift your hips. Let your knees go wide. and lower. Knees together and lift. Knees wide and lower. And then switch, just let your knees stay wide and lift. Knees together and lower. Knees wide and lift. Knees together and lower. One more time there, knees wide and lift. Knees together and lower. And then bring both knees into your chest. You can lengthen your legs up toward the ceiling. And then reach your arms up, interlace your fingers, push your palms away, and then let your arms come overhead so your hands come toward the floor. Let your knees and your elbows bend. And then with an inhale, reach your arms and your legs long. And then just let everything soften. Inhale and lengthen. So push your palms away, push your soles of your feet toward the ceiling. And then let your knees soften, your elbows soften. And just move there with your breath. Just kind of stretching the back body, stretch through your arms and your legs. Let's do one more round, pretty simple. And then let your left foot come to the floor. Hug your right knee into your chest. And then let your left leg go long. Just kind of compress your right lower belly, holding on to that right leg. And then interlace your fingers behind your left leg. Your right leg, sorry. Inhale to straighten your right leg, and then exhale and bend. And just keep bending and straightening. You can move with your breath in a way that makes sense. Just keep breathing. And you can play with maybe pointing your foot as you reach up and flexing it as you come down. Do that a couple times. And then maybe switch and flex as you come up and point as you come down. This is good. Flossing for your sciatic nerve through all those hamstring muscles. And then pause with your leg straight as it wants to go, and just hold on to your outer right leg with your right hand and release your left hand. And then drop your right. Your knee can be bent a little bit if it needs to be. And you can rock a little bit so that leg comes a little more toward the floor. Just kind of stretching through that right inner thigh. If you're feeling it in your inner knee, just bend your knee. And then come back up through center. You're gonna bend your knee. Use your left hand to draw that right knee over to your left. Just find a little twist there. And then we're gonna roll all the way onto our bellies with your right knee bent. So you're gonna come onto your belly and then bring your forearms to the floor. So you're kind of in a sphinx. Maybe I should turn around so you can see what I'm doing. So your right knee is kind of up toward your right side. And you're stretching through that right inner knee. Forearms on the floor. A little bit of a sphinx pose. Let the back of your neck get long. And then lengthen through your left arm, and you can just roll yourself onto your back. Okay, we're gonna do that again, just with that same leg. So hold on to the back of that right leg and lengthen it and bend it. We'll just do 3 times. You can do whatever you want with your foot. And then lengthen your leg. Let go with your left hand. Just let it fall out to the right. Stretch through that right thigh. Other side, honey. Then inhale through center. Let your knee bend. Grab onto it with your left hand. Find a twist. Just draw that knee over to your left. And then roll all the way to your belly. So you've got a bent right knee, and let your forearms come to the floor. So your left leg is long. And then we'll come back. Just lengthen through your left arm. Come onto your back. You can plant that right foot on the floor, bring your left knee into your chest, and then lengthen your right leg on the floor. Compress through that left low belly for a breath or two. And then interlace your fingers behind your left leg and bring that leg towards straight and bend. You can play with the pointing and flexing of your foot. Maybe point up and flex down a couple times. And then switch it and flex up and point down. And then lengthen your leg. You'll just hold on to your outer left thigh with your left hand. Let your right arm just fall to the side, and then let your left leg fall out to the left. And open through that left inner thigh, any amount. And you can support it with your left arm. You can find a little bend in your knee if you need to, and then come back through center. Bend your knee, use your right hand, draw that left knee over to your right. Just find a twist. And roll all the way onto your belly. We're gonna run into each other. And come into a sphinx. So elbows on the floor. And your left knee is kind of bent up toward the side. Are you feeling that stretch in your a little bit? You could make a 90-degree angle more. Do you feel that more? No. Lengthen out through your right arm and roll onto your back. Do that one more time. Lengthen and bend that left knee. And then lengthen through your leg. Draw that left leg out to the left. Stretch through your inner thigh. Come back up to center. Bend your knee. Find your twist. Stay there for a breath. And then roll all the way onto your belly. Left knee comes up, kind of up toward your left armpit. And think about reaching your left ribs forward. And then lengthen through your right arm, roll onto your back again. And then let your arms just come along your side. Lower back into all your might. Lift your shoulder blades, your head and chest up off the floor. Maybe float your legs. And see if you can really push your lower back into the floor as much as possible. And then release everything down. Reach your arms overhead and just see how long you can stretch here. And then do that one more time. Hands down alongside your hips. Your shoulder blades up off the floor and then float your feet. And then release. Reach your arms overhead. And then kind of scoot your bum over to the right side of your mat. Okay. And then let your heels, just step your heels over toward the left side of your mat. And then grab a hold of your right forearm and kind of bring your head over toward the left. So we're just doing a big side bend. You're kind of making a C shape with your body here on the floor. Breathe some length through that right side. And then undo that. Just come through center and we'll shift your hips over to the left side of your mat. Grab onto your left forearm with your right hand and then take your heels over to the bottom right corner of your mat. And just let yourself lengthen through that left side. And then we'll roll over onto hands and knees. So just roll to one side, push yourself up, come to hands and knees. And drop your belly, inhale and look up. Push the floor away, exhale and round. Inhale and look up. Exhale, round, and then you could push your hips towards your heels. Inhale, back to hands and knees. Let your belly drop, look up. And exhale, round and push back. And keep with that. Exhale, or if you want, you can make your movement even a little bit bigger. And as you inhale, you can slide forward all the way onto your belly, lift in a cobra, and exhale, push yourself back into child's pose. Just move with your breath. You don't need to be doing in the same pace or the exact same thing that I am. Start to get into all your joints. You could even add a downward facing dog after your cobra. And then come down to child's pose. And slide forward. And just take 2 more rounds of breath here, just with your movement. And we'll meet on our bellies. Make your way to your belly. Hands along the widest part of your chest. And let your forehead rest on the floor. And just push your hands into the floor alongside your chest, and then feel like you're dragging them back toward your feet without moving them anywhere. Push into your pubic bone. And inhale, lift your head and chest, and then float your hands up off the floor. And then exhale, lower everything back down. Push into your pubic bone. Inhale, lift your head and chest, float your hands, lift both legs, and then open them as wide as your mat. Close your legs and lower everything down. Inhale, lift everything, open your legs. Exhale, everything back to center and lower. Inhale, lift to open your legs. Exhale, legs come back together and lower. One last time. Inhale, lift, open your legs. Exhale and lower. And just make a pillow for your forehead with your stacked hands. Maybe even wiggle your bum from side to side a little bit. Find some space in your lower back. And then look forward, slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Come on up to your hands and knees. And then we'll find a twist. Inhale your right arm out to the right. And then just exhale to thread it underneath your left armpit. You can bring your right shoulder, right side of your head to the floor. And just breathe there. Take your left fingertips up toward the top of your mat. Maybe creep them over toward the top right corner. So you're kind of crossing over your head a little. I like that side opening if that feels good for you. Breathe into your back body. One more breath here. And then plant your left hand in front of your face. Use your arm strength to come up. And just switch sides. Slide your left arm underneath. Left side of your head to the floor. And then as you're ready, just find an arrangement of that right arm. Maybe creep it long. You can just keep it here. Maybe over toward the left. And take one more breath. And then slide that right hand in front of your face. Use your arm strength to come to hands and knees. Tuck your toes. And then lift yourself up and back for a downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out and keep your knees bent. We're not going to stay here for super long, but just kind of check your body out at the end of the day. Any wiggles or fluid movement that feels good, do that. And then bend your knees and just walk your hands back toward your knees. And roll yourself up to standing. And take your feet as wide as your mat. Inhale to reach your arms high. And then exhale, hands to heart, just sit down in a chair. Inhale and reach up, arms out to a T, exhale, halfway forward. Inhale, reach your arms alongside your ears, and then exhale, soften your knees and touch the floor. Inhale, roll yourself up to standing, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center, sit back in your chair. Inhale and reach high, arms out to a T. Exhale, halfway forward. Inhale, reach your arms alongside your ears. Exhale, soften your knees, touch the floor. Inhale, roll yourself up to standing, reach high. One more time through that. Exhale, sit back in your chair. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, arms to a T, come halfway forward. Inhale, reach your arms alongside your ears. Exhale, soften your knees and fold. And then let yourself stay in this fold for a little bit. Find the straightening of your legs that feels good for your lower back, and you find a stretch for the backs of your legs. So you can think of taking your inner thighs and pushing them back toward the wall behind you. And it may feel good to bring your hands to the backs of your calves and find a little resistance of hands into calves, calves into hands, and then lengthen through the crown of your head. And draw your belly button in and up. So you can kind of think of drawing it toward your spine and then up under your rib cage. I mean, that's not technically going to happen, but just kind of think of that action in a way that just is engaging, but not restrictive to your breathing. And then maybe sneak your hands a little lower on your legs. And keep your knees bent enough that you're pushing your inner thighs back and lengthening your spine and feeling this in the backs of your legs. Shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Soften your knees. You could even walk your hands up your legs to bring yourself up to standing. And then just pause there for a minute and kind of let your blood flow regulate itself. And then just toe, heels in, toes out, toes in, heels out, just heel toe, feet from side to side. And we're going to go in and out a few times, just kind of exercising your soles of your feet. So come onto the balls of your feet, just heels in, toes out, heels in. Just go wide and then come back together. And then face the long edge of your mat and go ahead and make your way to a wide stance. We're going to play with triangle pose. And we kind of made these shapes when we were laying down on our backs. So take your right toes and turn them to the right. I don't know. I'm going to mirror you. And your left toes in. And just bring your hands to your hips. And I just want you to hinge over. Okay. Hinge to the right. And you can kind of experiment with kind of hinging forward, hinging really out to the right more, hinging straight over your leg. Find the place that's really the most friendly for your hip. that feels like the most natural place. And just move back and forth a few times there. So kind of warming and flossing through that hip joint. Softening your right knee enough that you're feeling some engagement in your hamstring and you're not overstretching there. And then come on up and we'll just switch sides. So turn your left toes in, right toes in, left toes straight out to the right. And then find your little hinges. And you can experiment with the alignment of your hips, whether they're totally square to the long edge of your mat. Or just find the place where you have the most freedom in your hip. And then find that place and then move back and forth there a few times. And then go ahead and come up and we'll move back to the first side. So right toes out. You've got about a leg's distance, okay? Bring your right hand into that hip crease and just let yourself fold over there. And then come back up. This time, reach your right arm out and then fold at that place. Reach as far as you can, and then when you can't reach any further, you can let your right hand come down to your shin or your ankle and really push down into that left heel, and you can reach your left arm up toward the ceiling. And then bring your left arm parallel with the floor. Reach it away from you as far as you can, and you can kind of feel that upper arm bone disengage, and then kind of suck it back in. Feel your humerus bone come into your shoulder socket. Keep that engagement there and lift up. Maybe look up here. Push into your right big toe ball mount, and then engage through your right outer hip, so that right glute. And open through your heart. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back and find some external rotation of your right upper arm. So think of taking your right elbow crease and kind of twisting it the same directions those right toes are pointing. And then from here, let your left arm come alongside your ear. You can even let your left side body round a little bit. Just get a big side stretch there. And then swim it back up, come all the way up to standing. Parallel your feet. Bring your hands to your hips. Draw your elbows together like you're squeezing a beach ball behind your back. And then lead with your heart. Come to a flat back. And then soften your knees as much as you need to. Just lengthen out through the crown of your head. Find some space between your sitting bones, and then maybe fold forward a little more. Maybe hands come to shins. Maybe hands come to floor. You can always do this in front of a couch or your chair. And then rock a little bit of weight into the balls of your feet. You could probably step your feet wider, Barry. It'll be a little friendlier. Yeah. And then bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come all the way to standing. And then turn your left toes to the left. Bring your hand just right into that left hip crease. So right where your hinge point is, and bend over it. Just feel yourself bend there. And then come on up. Reach your left arm out and bend at that place. Reach as far as you can. And then let that left hand come down, maybe to your shin, your ankle. And then peel your right arm up toward the ceiling. And then bring your right arm parallel with the floor. Really reach it away from you. Kind of feel that disengagement. And then feel your upper arm bone connect. So your shoulder blade, all of that is all one piece. Your arm, and then open from there. Push into your left big toe ball mound. And then draw back on your outer hip. Push into your right heel and reach out through the crown of your head. See if you can bring some weight out of this left hand so you're not just dumping everything into it. Maybe look up. And then let your right arm come alongside your right ear. Round through that right side body. Maybe look up underneath that right armpit. And then swim yourself all the way back up. Parallel your feet again. So outer edges of your feet parallel with the short edges of your mat. Maybe take a little bit wider stance. Hands at your hips. Squeeze that imaginary beach ball behind your back. And then come to a flat back. You can soften your knees as much as you need to. You could stay here. You could interlace fingers behind your back. Or you could just hold outer legs or fingers to the floor. And then let yourself fold even more. And just stretch. Maybe rock a little from side to side. Could bend one knee and then the other. And just notice what you're feeling and just let yourself stay in that space. If you're clasping your hands, you can release your hands. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale all the way to standing. Toe heel your feet so that they come back. And that heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in. And then we'll make our way down to the floor. And this is where we're going to use our pillows, our blankets, our stack of things. So I'm going to find my stack. I've got like a throw pillow and a throw blanket and then another quilt here. These are just from my couch. Barry, you can sit, why don't you sit on a blanket for one and then let your legs go long. And then I think we're gonna take a rolled blanket and put it underneath your knees. We're just gonna find a forward fold where we're really supported and can find a place to rest your forehead. So for Barry, I'm just gonna take all these blankets. Yeah, I might need to stack some blocks, we'll see. So I'm gonna put these here and then this there. Can you fold to that? Not yet. Okay, taking some yoga furniture for Barry. Okay, this might be more comfortable. You could take the blankets off. Or is that good? Is that good? So just find a place, find your forward fold and find a way, right, that you can relax. Is that relaxing for you? Yeah. I don't know how convincing that was. But I like to have like something pushing into my belly and then let yourself fold. You could always do this like maybe over a folding chair. That might have been better, but I don't have any folding chairs. Here, use a block. Oh, yeah, I want to say so that. How's that?
So much better.
We're just gonna hold this forward fold for a while. I'm gonna take these blankets. Just find a place, and you can let your spine round. It's fine to let your spine round here. But let yourself be supported and find somewhere to rest your forehead. And then really think about inviting breath into your lowest ribs and your back body. And just expanding through that whole back body. As you have that pressure on your forehead. So you could totally be doing this with like a folding chair and your legs underneath your folding chair and then your forehead on the seat of your folding chair. Just notice the sensations in your body. Feel the compression in your belly. Notice where you're feeling a stretch. And see if you can soften around those places where you feel the most intense sensation. Without resistance, just allowing those sensations to be there. And notice how they change from breath to breath. Right, even though we're here in stillness, there's still a lot changing. Our sensations are also fleeting. And then go ahead and lift your head. Walk your hands back and come out of your forward fold. We're going to take our stack of blankets and make a little bit of a bolster. So I've got, I don't know, it's about a foot wide, maybe a little bit less. And I think I'll stack maybe 2 or 3 of those. I got this pillow here. I'll put 2 blankets and a pillow. So you just kind of use what you have around your house. You can use towels or blankets from the floor. And you'll also want something for your head, a blanket for your head. So Barry, how about you do like your rolled blanket and then another one that's kind of in a, I want you to make a long thing, a long skinny thing. And this is going to be my pillow for my head. So what we're doing is we're coming into a side stretch here. So you'll lay with your left side over your stack and your left shoulder will come to the floor and then your head will be on a pillow, right? You're just going to be, and you can bend your knees. We're just supported here, laying on our sides, and then you'll take your right arm overhead. And you can kind of see, like if it doesn't feel like much of a side bend, you can adjust the height of your pillow. So it feels like more is happening. But this is really not meant to be intense, but just to kind of give your rib cage some support as you breathe here. So just let that right arm drape over your head. And really let yourself settle into the blankets underneath your ribs. And think of finding space between all those ribs on your right side. Let your face be soft. Timer. Let's just take 2 more breaths here on this side. And we'll go ahead and just push yourself back up to seated, and you can roll around to your other side. So just shift yourself. So then your right side is over your stack. And you've got your right shoulder, arm along the floor, and then right side of your head on your blanket, left arm just drapes over your ear. And find really long, smooth breaths. And notice if you're bringing any tension into your body anywhere. Maybe your right shoulder. See if you can relax your neck, your face. You can let that left hand be relaxed. Let yourself just be supported by the props underneath you. And let yourself breathe space into your left ribs. And just 2 more breaths here. And then just bring that left hand in front of you. Use your arm strength to push yourself up. And we'll set ourselves up for kind of a supported back bend. So take your stack of blankets, pillows, and it may take a little experimenting. We're going to put it long. So you kind of want a long, skinny stack. And we're going to start with feet together, with your feet together and your knees wide. And for Barry, I probably will take blankets and kind of stick them under his thighs. And your heels don't need to be super close into your pubic bone. Just let yourself have a pretty big diamond. And then just walk your hands back alongside. So your sacrum, the back of your pelvis, is kind of up against your bolster, your stack. And then let yourself lay down. Is that long enough for your head? And just let yourself open through your whole front body. Just passively let your hips open. And if this feels too intense for your hips, you can always just let your legs go long, or you could find pillows or something to put underneath your thighs or your knees to kind of give yourself some support. But even in this vulnerable, completely exposed position, just notice how safe you are. Our internal experience drives our actions. And when we can find some space around what it is that we're feeling and experiencing, when we can see it with some objectivity, when we can use our words to describe the sensations that we're having in our body, we have more freedom to choose, to decide, is this experience, is this feeling necessary? Is it useful? Do I need to act in a way to fix or change or save myself? Or can I just let myself feel this because it will pass? Can I just thank my body for being aware and alert? I'd say, this is not an emergency. I'm okay. Just going to feel some anxiety right now because I have a human brain and a human body. Go ahead and change our leg position. So you can push yourself back up to a seat. Just bring your hands alongside yourself. Push yourself up. And you have a couple of options. You can just let your legs go long. We can do a quad stretch. So you'll take your left knee and bend it so that your left heel is kind of outside. I'm going to move so you can see. Your left heel is kind of outside of your left hip, and then just let your right foot come to your left inner thigh. Okay. And then just lay back on your bolster again. If that just does not feel good at all, then you can just do both legs long. We'll just be here for a few breaths, just really passively opening through that left side body. You can even take your left arm kind of up and maybe like just grab the side of your head or find a comfortable place to put that left arm. And then if you've got your knees bent and are ready to switch sides, you can push yourself back up to seated, or you can just change your legs here. And bend that right knee so that your right heel comes outside your right outer hip, and then left foot to your right inner thigh, left knee to the side. Just pause there, start to breathe into the front of that right hip, and then maybe take your right arm up somewhere. That feels good. You can have your, just let it drape. Maybe bend your elbow and kind of wrap it under your head. There's no right or wrong. Just find a place where you can comfortably just find a passive stretch and let yourself relax. Practices like this are really good for our nervous system. Just to teach our body to be aware of what's happening and really use our awareness to feel sensation, even some things that may be intense or uncomfortable. And just be willing to stay, willing to feel it. And start to really find that discernment of what is just an intense sensation and what is pain. What's something that I need to address and deal with? And what is something that is actually serving and teaching and helping my body? And so we do that with support. We do that a little bit at a time so that our awareness gets more and more refined. You've got your knees bent. You can unbend your knees. And we'll make our way to our final Shavasana. So if you like this support underneath your back with your heart open, you can stay here. If you want to do something different, if you're ready for a change, you could roll off of your bolster. You could move your blankets and maybe put your blankets underneath your knees and have support underneath your legs. Or if you've got that folding chair or something, you could even lay down and put your knees and your shins up on the seat of your folding chair. Or you could move over to your couch, put your legs up on your couch, and then just make your way back down onto your back. Get out any wiggles. And then completely relax. Feel both of your feet. Notice your toes. Feel the soles of your feet and just let them all relax. Relax your ankles. Feel your shin bones relax into your calf muscles. Let your knees relax. And feel those big bones of your thighs heavy and let your muscles just relax. And feel the bowl of your pelvis. Just feel it be heavy in the floor. Notice how it supports all of the contents there. Notice the contents in your pelvis. Feel if they feel fluid or solid. Just notice the quality of your internal organs there. Let your belly relax. Let your lower back relax. Let your rib cage relax into the floor. Notice your heart and your lungs in your rib cage. Just feel them working. See if you can perceive of the rhythm of your heartbeat. And just notice how your breath breathes itself. And bring your awareness to your hands. Just feel the aliveness there. Let your fingers just gently curve with complete relaxation without any effort, without anything to do. Feel the whole length and weight of your arms. Relax your wrists and your elbows, your upper arms and your shoulders. And just notice as your shoulders relax toward the floor, your heart opens. This really receptive way to be. Feel your neck and the spaciousness in your throat. You can maybe swallow and relax the root of your tongue. Relax your jaw. Relax your face. Let your eyes feel heavy in their sockets. Relax your forehead skin. Just feel your scalp drape over your head. And feel the heaviness of your skull into the floor. And bring your whole body into your awareness. Just feel that wisdom and intelligence and light in all of your cells. Maybe even find a sense of gratitude for all of that wisdom and life. The miracle of being part of nature that ebbs and flows and changes. And then really bring your awareness into the center of your heart. And see if you can notice where it is that you are aware from. Where do you reside in this body that notices toes and fingers? That notices emotions and temperature? That internal, eternal part of you that never changes. That part of you that will always be okay no matter what happens outside. No matter what happens to your physical body. That part of you that learns and grows from experience. That part of you that is divine. And start to deepen your breath. You can wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe rock your head from side to side. Take a big breath in and reach your arms overhead. And then just gently roll. Use your arm strength to come up to a comfortable seat. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. Namaste, honey. Thanks, Amy. And anyone that watches this later. Sleep well.
No,